I'm Eric.
And I'm Janie from Chasing the Sun. We spent a lot of time in Vietnam in the last few years, and Vietnam has definitely become a hotspot for many travelers.
If it's the first time you're going to Vietnam, then you will need to get some basic things as a traveler, like a SIM card for mobile service and exchanging money. We will show you the best ways to do this coming right up. With this video, what we want to do is kick off our Vietnam travel vlog series. So if this is your first time traveling Vietnam, whether you're going to Ho Chi Minh in the south or Hanoi and Haiphong in the north, then here are 4 things that you need once you land in Vietnam.
Yes, this includes basic necessities like exchanging money, getting local SIM card for your mobile data, and things to do to get around the cities.
So we're going to jump right into that, but before we do that, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we will have much more travel tips coming up in our Vietnam travel series.
So we just landed in Vietnam, so once you get through customs and come out to here, before you will exit the airport, there's something that I would recommend you to do. First, you might want to grab a SIM card, which is down there. So there's many different types of SIM cards you want to get, and it's really cheap. So I would recommend if you want to get connected and have data on your phone.
Now, for those people that need to keep your home country number active, either for work or whatnot, you can do this if you have a dual SIM slot. But keep in mind, many North American phones don't have dual SIMs. So if you have a relatively new phone, what's common now is eSIM. So what you can do there is, before you leave your home country, convert your home country number into an eSIM. You can do this with your mobile data provider before you arrive, and then what happens is then your physical SIM slot is freed up for the Vietnam SIM that you'll be buying here. Unfortunately, eSIM is not common here yet, so that would be the way to do it if your phone only has 1 SIM slot and you want to use 2 numbers. Now here's a bit of a scam alert for those who are buying the SIM card at the airport kiosk. The retail clerks there may try to scam you by giving you a used SIM instead of a new one that they've used a bit of the data already, so you don't get the full data as they promise. What they'll try to do is they'll try to pop that used SIM into your card. So the tip here is to ask them to show you a new SIM card, one that's in the plastic credit card size card first, and make sure that it's still part of the card, and then maybe you pop it out yourself or you slip it into your phone slot yourself. Now, if they are doing it for you, you can ask them to put it in front on top of the counter, so it's not behind or underneath the transaction counter or anything like that, so that you can see that they're putting in the right SIM for you. Now, they'll still need the phone back to punch in some digital codes to activate it. Of course, the best way to get around this would be to wait until you get into city and buy it from the actual corporate stores of data providers like Mobifone or Viettel. Then you know you won't be scammed. But if you're hoping to use a local rideshare, then you will need a local number before you can use it. And that's why you will need to get a SIM card before you get outside of the airport. So speaking of which, let's talk to you about how rideshare works here. So another thing that you should do once you land is to download and install the rideshare apps. We don't recommend using the local taxis. They've been known to scam you, and the rideshare here works great. So that's the way to do it. With the rideshare apps, you can punch in your location, find it like a GPS, punch it in with keywords, all in English. So you don't even need to tell the driver where to go. So it's great for those that don't speak the language. Now, depending on which part of Vietnam you're in, there are different rideshare providers. But the most common is Grab. I think they can be found in pretty much all of Vietnam, as long as you're in the cities. There's also Bee, and Gojek is a newer one that I've seen over the last couple of years. I would recommend installing all 3 because the prices do vary between them, and also availability of drivers. So if one is too busy and they're not coming, you can call another one, or you can price compare depending where it is. The top 2 would be Grab and Gojek. So if you just want 2, maybe those are the 2 to go with. So you will need a local Vietnamese phone number to register for a user account. And that's why we recommend getting the SIM card before you leave the airport. However, you are able to use your home credit card, so that's not an issue. Now make sure that you check back with us in our next video, where we'll share with you all the different ways to get around when you're in Vietnam. So another thing that you should do when you get here is to exchange for some local money, because cash is the best way to pay for things in Vietnam. There are many small stalls and shops that won't take credit card.
But don't exchange too much because there are better rates when you get into the city. So what I did is I just exchange a little bit of money here where there's some currency here right down here, so you can exchange some of them. So yeah, I would recommend you get some local money first.
Now, of course, you can exchange a little bit first in your home country before you arrive, enough so that you can get yourself into the city. When you finally settle down in the city, you can come to this corner opposite of the Benton Market, where there's two good local exchange places that offer really good rates. Here's Janie to tell you a bit more.
So I'm here at Chợ Bến Thành. This is actually the place where I come here to exchange for currency. So behind me there are two exchange places. One is called Ha Tam and the other one is called Mai Wan. So the other day I was planning to come here to exchange money to come to this location, Ha Tam. There was a huge lineup and I was in a rush. So I said, okay, let's go to the one with less lineup, which is Mai Wan. So I was there to exchange for money, and then my friend was curious to see what's the rate difference. So apparently it turns out that the one has less lineup has a slightly better rate than the one with a huge lineup. So if you are coming here to exchange for money, I think it's best that you go to both and compare the rates and see which one is better.
Google Map works really well here in Vietnam, unlike China and maybe other communist countries. So that is what we would recommend for you to use to get around. It's great to look for direction, of course, but you can also gauge how good a place is with the reviews, whether it's a shop or a restaurant. Now, for a non-English speaking country, I'm actually surprised how many English reviews there are. Another great feature for those that aren't familiar with Google Map is their favorites and other saved maps. If you like a place, for instance, you can save it to your favorites and then you can find it again easily. Or, like what I like to do, I do the research ahead of time and then I create a map called Want to Go. And what I do then is the places that I want to check out and want to go, I just save it in there and it flags it for me. Then the next day or whenever you're going around town, it's much easier to recall when you need it. So we hope you enjoyed those much needed tips for traveling in Vietnam. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel because for the next few weeks, we'll share with you everything you need to know about traveling in Vietnam. The do's and the don'ts, how to find all the great food and where all the cool attractions are. We'll take you to the south where cosmopolitan Ho Chi Minh City is, the north where the capital Hanoi neighbors the port city of Haiphong, and we'll also take you to the central region where we'll find cities like Da Nang and Hoi An.
Yep, all of that and more coming up in our Vietnam travel series.